All right, so I want to talk about daily routines very briefly. I've covered this a couple of times in the past, but for some people, they're not quite sure of things. So I want to be absolutely clear about some essential things for building the routine you have for your day. Looking at building a startup business, if you're an entrepreneur, if you want to make your company into something successful, you need to recognize from the word go that your number one priority above all is getting to a position where you can start receiving customers. That is your number one goal. All other things that do not directly relate to getting your first customers are superfluous, okay? Because having new customers gives you feedback on your product or service. It gives you, of course, a sense of momentum. It starts giving you confidence. Moreover, it gives you capital in terms of revenue that you can then spend and reinvest in the company. There's everything positive about it, and it's crucial early on to be focused on getting customers, not polishing up your product to be above a level which a customer would be happy with them. Now, the only exceptions to this are the kind of product where you're looking at luxury goods. For instance, I know two businesses, one's working with fine watches, another one is working with gift sets for people, and the level of quality in the product has to be at a high level. Fine, that's the product focus that needs to be right in terms of still having a minimum viable product. Nevertheless, a lot of the rest of the stuff can keep. You need to get your customers first. It really is your crucial first step with a business. So we're going to talk briefly about daily routine, okay? I'm not going to go into too much depth, but I'm going to give you the techniques I use, and this is what I suggest a lot of people adhere to. That pen's not clear enough. It says the words daily routine. Hopefully you can see it. So the essential thing is that you understand two things about your business before you even start doing anything. Firstly, you need to know your lines of work and focus, okay? These are two things, okay? If you check out my YouTube channel, then you'll see more on this in terms of the content. But line of work is basically a short sentence that explains exactly what you do. For instance, I coach startup businesses, okay? That's your line of work. Really simple. There's no embellishment on it. It's just what I do, okay? And it could be that I work with a particular niche or a demographic and all these other things, fine, but this is the simple version. That's what you tell people if they say, so what is it you do again? You should be able to nail it in one sentence just like that. Line of focus. So this one is what you share with people, but your line of focus is for you, okay? This is the specifics. It covers your niche, and it's the detail on your role, okay? So I coach startup businesses, then it might be that my line of focus brings in the type of people I work with, the kind of businesses I work with, and the style of coaching that I actually perform, okay? This is more for me. It's something you should still also have written down and keep to throughout your day. You must know your lines of work and your lines of focus. So once you have that information, you're in a better position to be able to set yourself the right objectives each day. So I'm going over this again because it's something that I suppose I did content on this about a year ago. I'm going to make it nice and clear. The best approach to take when building your daily plan, as I mentioned in past posts and things like that, is look, build a list. Attach a number to each of those items, so you simply set yourself a priority list then, and then assign a time for each of them. So at 9:05 I'll be doing X, at 9:25 I'll be doing Y, and so on, and then you just execute, simple as that. But when it comes to deciding what goes on the list, you need to use the CEL approach, C-E-L, okay? So number one, with all things that go onto your list, let's use black because maybe you can actually see it. All things that go onto your list must be first and foremost, this is in order. That pen's run out, excellent. I'll use red again. In order, number one, number two, number three. C stands for customer or cash acquisition. Does this item about to go on my daily routine focus on acquisition of a customer? Will it focus on getting me a new buyer for my product or service, and therefore cash? It will help with cash flow. It has to feature every day. Anyone I've ever consulted with, I always suggest this to them because they often overlook it. Every day you should be asking yourself the question, where is my next customer coming from? Simple. Where's the next one coming from? If you think it every single day, even if you just closed a customer that morning, where's my next one coming from? Okay, always be thinking, where is my next one? And the thing is, I'm proving this right now with one of the companies I'm working with, because there was a fear on my part that they'd stop. They're like, oh, I've got 10 customers now, that's great. And I said, what you've got to understand is that entropy happens, so things will be out of your control. Someone may have to leave working with you. They might move house, they might run out of money, whatever. Something might change, and then you need to get new customers. So always be looking for new ones, not just to grow, give yourself more capital to be able to expand further, but also because you need to offset those customers that will leave. It does happen, and it often isn't your fault. You could have the greatest product in the world. I've worked in a company in the past where this was a marketing business, where some companies would say to me upon renewal, we are deliberately going to say no this year to test out this other thing instead. They literally had this much money, they're going to put it there instead just to see if it works. The next year they came straight back to me. Okay, they said, we're just doing it for due diligence, but that's just how we're going to roll. Okay, so it does happen. Sometimes you lose people. So you must always be working on the basis you might lose your customers. And if you might lose your customers, you need to have more of them coming in. It's really that simple. Every day. Not, oh, I did really well this week. It's only Tuesday. I've already got 4 customers. Brilliant. I can focus on other people. I can have an admin day. Don't ever have an admin day. Always have a day that focuses at least in some part on creating a new customer. Number 2, you need to think about the items that are on your daily routine, on the list you're working from. Is it essential? Okay? Is it actually essential, the thing I'm about to add to this task list? And some things are essential for you, some things are essential for other people. Some things are not essential for you, some things are not essential for other people, okay? The non-essential things for other people are right at the bottom of the pile, okay? Then you work your way up to the essential things for you. That comes first, okay? So the things that are essential for you, and in terms of time frame, the things that are essential for you right now, that's what has to go on the list as well, okay? So when you're crafting your list, these things go on first. These things, okay? We'll get to what other things you come up with afterwards. I've got my laundry to do as well. Okay, fine. Let's hold off for now. It's this first, and then you pad out the list afterwards. Problem is, people write down a list of everything that needs to be done. Fine, but it's better to understand what things need to be done first. It's called triage. They do it in hospitals. You go in with a sore tummy. You're about to be seen by a doctor, someone comes in with a knife wound, they get bumped up and they get seen first. Triage. The things that come first are got to be more important. Finally, L is lines of work, as I mentioned, of work and lines of focus. Excuse me. So, does the thing I'm about to put on my list follow or fall in step with my lines of work and lines of focus? Is it aligned with coaching startup businesses and the deeper things that I actually am focused on? If the thing I'm about to add to my list does not fall in step with any of these things, it doesn't help me directly with generating new customers. It doesn't help me in terms of it being absolutely essential, and it isn't related to my lines of work or focus, it does not happen. Okay, it doesn't go on the list. It also isn't something I do. Now, it sounds like I'm really being quite cold and hardcore, but that's exactly what you need to do. 168 hours is all you got for a week, so you need to make sure you make the most of it. So, for instance, checking out some joke video on YouTube, no, Not really either, okay? It doesn't really fit, okay? For me to have the audacity to sit and watch some video on YouTube when maybe my business isn't quite where it should be yet, I didn't fly to work in a business jet, and if that's what my end goal is, well then maybe I need to perhaps pop away YouTube for now. Once you've built this list, and be fairly discerning. Remember this as well, this essential one is really important, because it might be that you have an idea for something that's going to help with customer acquisition that also is relative to lines of work and focus, but actually it's non-essential. Maybe you're going to write a book. That will help with this. This is it's related to that as well, but actually, unless it's something you're trying to do right now, you know what, it'll keep today if you have other things that are more essential, okay? So some things you'll leave off the list. Once you've created a list, I would say of 8 to 10 things, so 8 to 10 items, then the other things can come on underneath it. So anything that perhaps isn't related to this, this or this, they then come in underneath, okay? If you get time, they get done. If you don't, they don't get done. And if you're interested in how I break down my day, people ask me this a lot as well. Everyone does it differently. And by the way, there's no wrong or right. There's no wrong or right at all. But what I find is that I break my day into 4 and it's really effective. Okay, so I have 4 quarters in my day. Not every single, by the way, this is on the 8-Step Startup course, so I'm giving you a lot of insight from the course itself. I know that's 73 lessons, there's a lot more content on it, but this gives you a bit of insight on some of the things on it. There are 4 quarters in my day. The quarters are not evenly spaced out. Hypothetically, because the maths is easy that way, if I worked 8 hours, I wouldn't necessarily do 2 hours, 2 hours, 2 hours, and 2 hours on these quarters. It might be that one is 4 hours, one is 2 hours, one is 2 hours, no, one is 1 hour, and one is 1 hour. That might be how I do it, just because, okay? So the thing that divides these quarters is a break. Coffee, lunch, maybe a break for dinner, okay? What I'm doing in each of these quarters is slightly different. The first quarter is the, let's call it administrative stuff. This is the maintenance of my business. The, you know, organizing of social media posts that are gonna go out that day. The emails I need to send, the invoices I need to send and receive money from, for instance. This kind of stuff, the accounts, all of that stuff, that basically means that by the end of my first quarter, if everything and the rest of the day goes wrong, because normally at the start of the day everything's all right. If things are going to go wrong, but as the day winds on, you get things that fall on top of you perhaps. But at the start of the day, most things are, you know, feeling fresh. What I do is I reach a point at the end of this first quarter where if I stepped away from my business that day, it at the very least would tread water. It wouldn't go backwards because I've done all the things I need to do to maintain, can't fit it in, maintain my business. Simple, okay? I don't jump to loads of fun stuff first. I don't jump to going out and prospecting with people and things like that. In the main, obviously there are exceptions, but in the main, I tend to make sure my businesses are safe first. What's out there? Is there anything I really need to deal with? And this serves me really well. I finish that quarter and I think, right, you've earned yourself a coffee, Richard. The businesses are going to be fine today. And then then quarters 2, 3, and 4 afterwards are for focus on customer acquisition, business development, and business growth. This is the fun stuff. You guys want to be entrepreneurs and you want to do the things entrepreneurs do. This is the fun stuff. And this is your reward for maintaining your business. The mistake, in my opinion, is flipping that. What most people like to do is spend their day doing the cool stuff, you know, getting out there, enjoying, you know, meeting people and being innovative and creative. It's all good, but unless you have this thing in place, your business is potentially, without you realizing, it's very subtle sometimes, maybe starting to cause cause problems. Maybe, if you leave your accounts alone, then by the end of the month is an absolute headache. You have to spend an entire day building your accounts, and things like that. Whatever it might be, it's always good to get that knocked out of the ballpark park. Then you can focus on customer acquisition, business development and growth and things like that. Okay, so that's how I run my daily routine. It's really quite straightforward, but with the structure and the systems I have, these kind of processes mean that I get everything that I need to get done, but I also get the things that really need to get done first. And across a day, I know that I'm always going to achieve something. So there are many other things I could add to that, but I wanted just to cover this because I'm getting quite a few questions about it. People are interested in how I build the day, and hopefully that makes it clear. So what about you? If you have any great business ideas for your daily routine, I'd love to hear what they are, so do share them. If you're interested in more like this, I have an entire strand of the 8-step startup business course. That's 73 lessons that I built with professors, business leaders and best-selling authors who help contribute to the content. And all 73 lessons are about building a business. So it will cover things like selling, branding, selecting your product, finance, and of course this one, maintenance and routine of your business as well. So if you're interested in that, check it out, 8stepstartup.com. Hope that helps, and I'll speak to you soon.